May here from May Dynamics, and today I'm going to talk to you about some of the biggest bad habits that you will see in Excel. Now, full disclaimer, I love Excel. I've been using it well as an amazing, very flexible tool for the last 20 years. I'm completely self-taught and have explored the functionality in a way that very few people have, including the formulas, the formatting, and the user interface sort of opportunities that it gives as well. So it was really fun when I started writing this article to actually create an awful version of the spreadsheet. The scary thing is, this is as bad as I can make it, but I've probably seen worse. And these sort of spreadsheets are costing small businesses literally tens of thousands of dollars every year in lost productivity. And worse, they have the potential to lose millions of dollars, potentially even close companies down if they result in an error which is acted upon and leaves the company liable. So there's every reason to stamp them out. There's very little reason to let these errors remain. I'm just going to help you identify them. Hopefully it will mean you can spot them in your own spreadsheets, in the spreadsheets that your staff are presenting to you, and just work on ironing them out one at a time. You'll be in a much better, happier place. And if you're struggling with Excel now, you will almost certainly go to loving it if you can just stamp out these things. So I've identified the top 8 that I really notice and care about. And the first one is blank rows and columns. Now you can see at the top of this example here, we've got 8 blank rows. This isn't actually causing a huge problem. Excel won't have any problem formatting or handling the data because of it. It's just unnecessary. If there are a heading or a logo or a navigation panel here, that would be absolutely fine. But there's no reason to have our spreadsheet data starting halfway down the page and trying to cram it into less of a space. We want to be able to see our data well visually and as much as possible in one place. What is more of a problem is here, row 10, row 12, row 14, row 16, etc. They are left blank. And the reason somebody will have decided to do this is they think visually it helps make the data easier to read because it's more separated, there's more white space. There are plenty of ways to do that without leaving blank rows. Secondly, mixing the rows and the columns. If we go down a little bit, we'll have a good example of this here. So we can see in this example, we've got our purchase order number is in column E. Our customer number is in column F, etc. But what this example does is under the customer, they're thinking this is like a CRM, we'll use it to maintain what we're doing next. And so somebody's decided to put the next step in. So we've got call John, then we've got review profit margin, order missing parts. This is information which should never be here. And if we actually look further to the right, you can see column K actually has a status update column. Now, Excel handles status updates and variable data like this terribly anyway, but if you are going to do it at all, the place to do it is in a separate column that is just maintained constantly. Certainly not on an extra row. It will mess up all of your analysis, filtering, sorting, and everything. Thirdly, dates that aren't dates. Now, you wouldn't believe the number of people that do this. Most people, a lot of people seem to think that this 17.08.18 is a number. It isn't as far as Excel is concerned. When you put slashes in, it sees it as a number. When you put dots in, it sees it as nothing. Now, you can actually see, if we put a filter on here, you will be able to see that Excel doesn't like this. Because I've got blank rows, it's not even showing me anything. But if we go here, this is a better example. I'll put a filter on. These dates are not dates. They're not numbers. There's no grouping of them. If they were proper dates, you'd be able to say July, all the dates underneath it, August, all the dates underneath it, and it would even roll it up further into years for you. The fourth biggest problem we've got is combining data. So putting two things into one place that shouldn't be there together. So this is a terrible example here. We've got a PO reference number, purchase order reference number, followed by the dollars, the dollar value of that order. Now, this should always be split out. What's more common is to have this sort of information together. We've got two parts of a name, first name followed by last name, followed by this guy's phone number. Now, the phone number should definitely be separate from the name. Ideally, first name and last name would be two separate columns. It's not such an issue for something like a spreadsheet, but if you're looking at proper data integrity, they should be separated. They become a lot more useful. Fifthly, free data entry. Now, this is just an example of this. Everything here you can see shouldn't have been done like this. So we've got here, complete. This is a column which is trying to let the user know, is this order complete or not? So to me, the normal way of doing this would be to say something like pre-order, open, closed. You potentially could say complete, yes or no, or incomplete, complete. It doesn't really matter what you choose, but as you can see, what's happened here is we've got all sorts of different options. And so it becomes very hard to cut the data based on what you can see going on in this column. Sixthly, mixed references. Purchase orders is a great example here. So we've got PO 124, and then here we've got 125. Just inconsistency. It means that it will be very hard to understand what's going on, particularly 125 if it's taken out of context. How do I know that that's the purchase order 125 rather than the invoice number 125? All right, manual color coding, another great example. So here we can see we've got some rows which are coded in yellow, orange, and red. Now, presumably somebody's decided to do them because red is very bad, there's a big problem here. Orange is maybe getting bad. Yellow, I don't know. We don't know. This is the problem. We've got yellow with red writing. Is John Smith a bad person? Is his order a bad thing? There's no explanation and there's very little consistency. And then going a little bit further down, you can see here, row 21, it looks like somebody's probably tried to color code it yellow fill with red writing to match row 12 and actually succeeded in giving it a different backfill. And because of that, Excel's filter by color function, which has caused a lot of this to start, won't work, and there will be no way of grouping that data. Okay, the last one that I'm going to talk about quickly is separate data entry. And that is shown here in our tabs. So we've got, somebody's decided to split up our data entry. So the orders for July are on our first tab, which is July 18. The orders for August are on our second tab, which is called just August. And then even within that, we've got our orders are split up by week with gaps in between the weeks. So there's no continuity of data. Basically, a good spreadsheet will generally have all of the data held in a single table on a single tab. And then any analysis that needs to be done treats that data as a whole rather than as separate parts. The only exception to that would be if you're getting to a very large sort of spreadsheet size and having processing issues because of the size of the spreadsheet, the amount of content or the number of formulas, etc. on there. And if that were the case, the easiest solution is to, for example, take out previous year's data, put the high-level data in a static form, and then just use that alongside the moving total of the daily data on this spreadsheet. So that's just a really quick overview of what an appalling spreadsheet looks like. We're ignoring things like Comic Sun font because it's bad, it's completely unprofessional, but it's not actually affecting the way Excel works. This is all about things that affect the way Excel works, things that mean somebody in your office may well be spending hours of their week looking after a spreadsheet that looks very much like this, that is basically useless. This is my call to you to look for these and to get rid of them. And I will, as I said, follow up with articles specifically dealing with each of these habits and how to get rid of them. Thank you very much for your time. Enjoy your Excel, guys.